ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Happy Thanksgiving from the 1973 podcast. We hope this serves you well on the week of thanks, and like to thank these fellas for showing up, and the ones that didn't, we gotta give them the bird. So this is how we do it. This we usually start with our new segment, and I big fan of this segment. I must say that it is becoming a favorite of mine. So, Thomas, before we get going, take us into the segment of Movie of the Week.
All right, I've got some big shoes to fill, but I'll try. Hey there, podcast fans. Are you ready to show off your love for the 1973 podcast? We've got over 20 different designs of t-shirts and hoodies that capture the essence of classic stuff. Whether you're a fan of the shows or just love that retro feel, we've got something for everyone. From bold prints to subtle nods to your favorite personalities, each piece is made with top-notch quality and that timeless style that you crave. Perfect for lounging at home or making a statement out and about. And don't wait. Our collection is flying off the shelves faster than you can say, don't be cheap, buy a shirt. Visit us now at bonfire.com and grab your favorites before they're gone.
All right, Thomas, we're talking about a movie that, whose pick was it? The Phantoms, Shawshank Redemption. So we're going to go with, we'll start with Tommy. Thoughts on Shawshank Redemption?
This movie came out, in like 1994 or something? I didn't see it until about 6 months ago. First time I ever saw it. I just kept putting it off. Kelly kept bugging me. My wife kept bugging me to watch it. I finally sat down and watched it, and it's one of my all-time favorite movies. It was awesome. And I'm not a big Timothy Robbins fan. He was really good in it. Morgan Freeman, I thought, was excellent. His narration in it really gave the movie some soul with his iconic voice. And I thought the underrated people were the Clancy Brown and the guy that played the warden were awesome as the kind of the villain. I won't say the villains, but the kind of the antagonists. And I thought William Sadler, who's been in a million movies, playing, I think he was Hayward in this one. I love him and almost everything he does. He was another really understated character in this, but I thought he kind of stole every scene he was in. But I really thought the the whole script was awesome. I mean, it's just a movie that is timeless, and we always talk about if it has little sayings and stuff that you can say. Well, our man Ray, I believe it's Ray, has the tattoo. What is it? Get busy. What is it again, Andy?
Get busy living or get busy dying.
Yeah. So that's we say that all the time. So my rating, I'm going with a 9.2.
Very good, Thomas. Very good. So let me weigh in before we go to the Phantom and Brad, because Brad's got some notes. That's why we love him. Ooh. So let me tell you, I'm gonna give you the scores from the guys that could not attend this weekly pageant, I should say. Ray gave it a solid 10. Rookie score. Shaggy, 8.3. For a guy that really likes the movie, 8.3.
Respectable.
Ed 9.6.
And y'all said they're the ones that said Rogue One was, oh my God.
Okay. Hey, that's why the segment works.
That movie is no longer called Rogue One. It's now called Rogue 10.
Yeah. Rogue 10 for the rest of, yes. Thank you.
So let me weigh in before we go to two experts. I'm just gonna step right in for a minute. So I've been trying to rewatch these movies. If it's been a while since I've seen them, just to give it some really clear thought on my thoughts. Timeless movie, great story. It's not dated at all. You can watch, as Tom said, he had never seen it before, sat down and watched it, so it still holds weight. Is it really quotable? There's a few here and there, but you gotta know the movie to know the quote. It's not a casual quote. More life lessons and deep thoughts in this movie. But a great movie. I love the story. If you've never seen it, everything kind of plays out in the end the way it kind of it's not a dark ending. So I'm gonna here's my rating. I flip-flopped a couple of times as I was watching it, but for me, Tom, I'm almost on your same page, 9.1. Phantom?
I gotta say, I love this movie. This is probably on my Mount Rushmore movies. From start to finish, it's got everything that you could need. It keeps hope alive. It's the resiliency of Tim Robbins throughout the movie, and then he even kind of rubs off his hope onto Red, who was Morgan Freeman's character, which is my favorite character in the movie, probably because he's doing the narration of it. But yeah, I love it. It's so good. That's a movie that is like 2.5 hours long, and at no point are you like looking at your watch going, "Oh man, I can't wait for this thing to be over with." It carries through pretty well for me, anyways. I ended up finding out later on that Tom Hanks turned that role down to do Forrest Gump, which is actually another one of my favorite movies. But we can probably get to that at another time. But I'm coming in high here. I'm going 9.3.
So somewhere in between me and Tom and Ed. So you're right on that dot board, right in that bullseye area. So I was going to agree with you, Ryan, on the same thing after you said it about the, you know, all those little points about it's timeless, the message, everything. And Keith brought up some pretty good points this week. He had sent it on the thread. I don't know if anybody saw it where there's a bunch of things. I sent it to Tom just so that we could mention it. But go ahead, Brad. What do you got for a score?
Oh, so for this movie, I really like Stephen King films. Well, I like Stephen King books. I tend to find that the movie adaptations always kind of fall short. And although I haven't read this novella by Stephen King, I believe it was called Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, which is neat because Andy hangs a Rita Hayworth poster in his cell. So they always like throw little nods and little things in there like that with Stephen King movies when they're adapted and stuff like that. Like in The Mist, old boy's painting a picture and it's that dang, what's his name from the Towers books, the sheriff guy. You know what I'm talking about, Andy?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
I do.
they always throw little tidbits and Easter eggs in the movies like that. So, what I didn't know, not I guess now watching it back, it makes sense that Andy, there's a whole like religious allegory. This like Andy was an allegory for Jesus, the warden was an allegory for Satan, Mexico was just an allegory for heaven. The guards were the Pharisees, the prisoners were like his disciples. So a lot of biblical undertones, a lot of you mentioned it, a lot of undertones for like friendship, hope, resiliency, stuff like that. It's actually rated as IMDb's highest rated film. It's the highest. They gave it the highest score, which I think according to them is like 9.2 or 9.3, something like that. Um, my biggest issue with it is too long. I like that. I'm not a fan of super long movies. I'm a fan of 90-minute movies. Get in, get out. I like to save the longer movies for like the Star Wars, the Avengers, those kind of action-packed war thriller movies. So Rogue One, I would have to rate this movie like a 6.2 because to me it's just not quotable and it's too long. I'm not a dick and I'm not going to use that scale because a real movie buff doesn't rate movies on whether they're quotable or not. Rating this movie because it does have a lot of religious undertones. It is more than just like a friendship surviving jail type of film. It was a really, really outstanding movie. I'll give it a solid 8.6. That's as high as I'll go.
The when I noticed too when I had rewatched it, something I didn't notice years ago, which I mean is kind of glaring. But
When you brought it up, and I forgot to mention it, was if with the way that the phones are now, if you're looking at your phone during a movie you're trying to review or rewatch, it's pretty much not holding your interest away that, so this movie from start to finish, I actually got out the DVD, went old school, popped it in, and sat there and watched it because I wanted to not be, disturbed by any buffering or any of that bullshit. So, uh, yeah, totally agree. Anything to add, Thomas? Before we
Well,
give this thing a timpani?
film there. Godsmack has filmed the video for Awake there. The Tango and Cash prison scenes were filmed there. Triple H has filmed a promotional poster there, and I guess Lil Wayne filmed a video there for one of his songs. And he also wrote that it's creepy as fuck.
So yeah, Keith, based in Ohio now, and he probably got a little inside track on some knowledge of that folklore from
You know the movie's made it big when Family Guy does a spoof episode of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That down for future reference on this editing going forward. 8.7, not bad, solid. I had seen that rating for it on one of these streaming services, so pretty much in the wheelhouse with what we came up with. So I didn't get to pick. I just started with Halloween that first week because that was our first one, and we kind of stuck our toe in the waters with that. Didn't really get to rate it. So I'm gonna pick something, seeing that we're going into Christmas. I want everybody to go back and watch it. Brad, not for you. It's only half an hour of your time, so it's not going to be a big movie of all time. Tom's already smirking. Very quotable. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Let's go. Let's go.
What? What the fuck is that?
Let's go. Yep. Thomas, care to explain about the Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas?
I thought you were going to say Die Hard.
So you're the oldest one in the group, so I think you should actually explain it to the youngsters in the group.
Came out in 1977. The infancies of HBO was a Christmas movie that Jim Henson put together with a bunch of Muppet characters that they've never used again. It's like a cult classic. They've made children's books about it. And give it a half an hour. We're going to come up with a good review of that next week, especially when one of Ed's favorites too. We watched that many a time at my house back in the day. So Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. That's a must watch.
This is where you find out that Andy has an uncomfortable love for Muppets.
Sesame Street. Here we go. Let's go.
Do you or do you not have the feeling like WWE got caught up just in, I don't know, leading up to Bad Blood or something? I don't know. It's like they forgot Survivor Series was coming. And they were like, oh shit, we gotta slap together a 5v5 women's match with a bunch of people who aren't related, intertwined, or connected. We just throw them out there in the ring, put Rhea Ripley in it with her scary face mask. Still hot. I don't care. Still muscle mommy with the stupid mask on and everything. And just throw her in there and start headbutting fools. And they're like, check, we're done. And then they're like, oh shit. The Rock isn't actually going to show up and take his spot like everybody kind of thought. He shows up for Bad Blood, makes a big fucking scene. His movie is currently bombing in the box office, so he's going to come to WWE to try to push that and generate some hype. That's what he does every time a movie comes out. But I just feel like they kind of dropped the ball, man. I don't know. Maybe we'll have some surprises because I know Tala Tonga's rumored to have showed up. Zilla Fatu is rumored to show up, but we haven't seen them or heard of them, or that rumor mill's kind of died down. And I think one of y'all predicted last week, right, that it was going to be Brock or CM Punk, somebody that's connected to Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
So spoiler alert, if you haven't seen SmackDown, it was exciting. It makes more sense than Seth Rollins. So I'm a huge Punk fan, so I'm there for it. I mean,
it seemed like to me when I watched it that it was a little bit like anticlimactic, a little bit like it was cool, but it seemed like to me that they had something else planned and it fell through, and that's kind of what they went with. Put the women's stuff aside because that's just
that match is gonna be boring as shit anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you have the potentials of guys getting, getting the juice out and all that stuff, and then the women come out, and it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's time to go, eat or do something else or call me
Yeah.
when this match. Yeah, Ryan, did you feel the same way when you saw the Punk thing?
Yeah, I think they're trying to like sway your imagination with getting Paul Heyman always wears the shirt and tie. He had on the red shirt like Solo wears, so
Yep.
they're trying to get you to think that something's going to happen some way or another. I totally agree with Brad. That's like a throw together thing. That's easy to throw Punk in. That's a free pop. So that's we'll see what they do with the story if they can actually bounce anything off of it. I saw a thing online where they were saying that Heyman was like shooting the wink at Jimmy and then kind of like looking off Roman Reigns. So I guess there's always that something could
Mm.
come out of this where they should break up the whole, maybe when they got the two factions that some pieces of both ways might actually end up fitting into one, and they can go from there because it's getting a little boring. I think
The
everybody's always waiting for the other cousins that everybody knows about to show up, and they never show up. So it's like that was a great chance to bring back Rikishi.
And he's been talking on online and on Twitter, man. So
Yeah,
he didn't say no to getting involved.
uh,
we gotta bring out the elders to smack around the kids. Go old school on them.
the Cody thing with Kevin Owens, that didn't
Mm.
they already do that already,
I think
or
so.
is that kind of like, is that like interesting enough for that storyline or
It's
for
a
Well,
Saturday night's main event. It's a Hulk Hogan main event from back in the day.
it's
well,
coming though in December?
so the first time though, Cody came out and was like, "Hey, Kevin, you're a great star. You've earned it. How about a main event?" And then they weren't even the main event. It was like it was a squash match, and it was a good match, but it wasn't like memorable. So I will say now it makes more sense because that promo they cut was phenomenal.
Yep.
Like I was on the edge of my seat. I felt all the emotion. And then, KO just said what a lot of us were thinking as fans, like, why are we going to put Roman Reigns back in power? Why are you going to team with him after we just took him down? Like that shit made zero sense. So he's kind of saying what we felt. So I like that part of it. And then Cody goes backstage and gets into it with Mello, which he's already done too. But Mello is kind of like, yeah, dog, he just said what we were all thinking backstage. So I like the setup because there is a transition coming and it's got to be heel Cody. It's got to be coming because people if his friends start turning on him, Kevin Owens was like, "Oh, I lifted you on my shoulders at WrestleMania. I was there. I helped you. I was this. I was that. Then you teamed up with him at Bad Blood. Da 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 da." I'm like, dude, it's coming, man. I'm waiting for Randy Orton to come out and say the same thing. So
He's
I'm
hurt though,
for it.
isn't he? I
Yeah,
think
he
he's
got hurt with a pile driver, but he'll be back.
and then they kind of outlawed the pile driver too. Did you see that?
Yeah,
That's cool. That's some old school stuff right there. Can't use the
yeah.
pile driver anymore. I love that. They
They
should.
were
Yep.
saying that it was already outlawed before he
Man,
It was,
did
it was already
yeah.
outlawed.
Well,
it.
it's funny because before you came on, I was talking to Brad off before we started recording about AEW, and at Full Gear they had Osprey or the other guy there, the other Australian dude, pile drive him on the steel steps like a tombstone. I'm like, where is the concept of what the fuck is going on with this shit? Did you end up watching Full Gear, Ryan?
I saw a little bit of it. I didn't see the whole thing. The one thing I will say about AEW, their shows kind of suck, but their pay per views are usually always fucking good. I don't know because the matches are decent or what, but
Yeah,
usually PPVs are all right.
if
Not
you
with
have
the
6 hours
Costco
to
guys.
kill,
Yeah,
yeah,
not with the
Yeah.
Costco guys though.
no. They
Could
brought
have
in
watched
the
could have watched Shawshank 3 times in the time to watch one pay per view.
yeah. I don't have the attention span for that.
We're
They
learning a
brought in
lot about you, Brad.
they brought in the Rizzler, like the kid, into AEW. I'm like, how corny can we get for just to get viewership and ratings? You take a really hot, popular social media personality just and put them on your show. I mean, WWE did it with Logan Paul, but it actually kind of worked.
Well,
You know what I mean?
that's where I was going next, Brad. That I had heard a rumor that they're gonna work that Jake Paul Mike Tyson thing into an angle with Logan Paul and Mike Tyson at WrestleMania.
Did you notice this week on, I think it was SmackDown, the Prime logo was back in the ring. It was back,
Oh,
and they hadn't had it in a few weeks. So I don't know if that's just a thing, the sign of things to come or not.
So, do you think before we move on to the watch along, do you think that Brock Lesnar is done, or do you think he'll be back?
I don't
oh.
think he's not with this.
I think he's done.
Yeah, I think since they got bought out by the guys from UFC, I don't think they're bringing him back.
They don't want that heat. It's with this investigation going to the feds. They don't want that heat.
All right. Well, we're gonna try something new for where the wrestling's a little stale right now. I've been wanting to try to do this watch along with the fellas, especially Brad, with some of the old school stuff. Some old school Georgia Championship Wrestling from old school TBS. So let me see if I can bring that up and get it going. If you can see. You see that?
I
Blank
see
screen.
that.
Yeah, I got a spec. I feel like I'm watching Netflix for boxing.
All right.
Says you started sharing.
Hey there, podcast fans. Are you ready to show off your love for the 1973 podcast? We've got over 20 different designs of t-shirts and hoodies that capture the essence of classic stuff. Whether you're a fan of the shows or just love that retro feel, we've got something for everyone. And don't wait. Our collection is flying off the shelves faster than you can say. Don't be cheap. Buy a shirt. Visit us now at Bonfire. Come and grab your favorites before they're gone. Just click the link below.
All right, Thomas, there's your boy.
Abdullah.
Jeez,
One of us has a picture with him.
when did this come out? You said?
Oh, this is probably from 76.
Okay, so I wasn't even alive yet.
You know this isn't going to be a
This ain't gonna be long.
classic.
Yeah.
Brad, wait till you see the elbow drop, Brad. Wait till you see the elbow
There
drop.
it is.
Oh, here it comes.
This is when
Finishing move, the elbow drop.
wrestling had like 5 moves and then the match was
Hey!
over.
You picked him up.
Finishers meant something. You tell me he didn't do like 5 elbow drops in a row and the guy just kept getting up and bouncing off of it?
Nope.
Who's this now, AC?
So that's is that Dick Slater?
I can't see it.
Well, I know that's referee
like-
Tom Young.
It's like it's in slow motion.
Oh yeah.
Slow motion for you.
Yeah, it's like it's in like minus 2.5 or something.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a buffering thing almost where it's
I love this era of wrestling because I could have done it. Like none of these guys are in like that great a shape.
Can I just say that HD has killed me because I can't watch TV now without it being HD.
Right?
Everything.
Like how the hell did we survive before? Yeah, how did we survive before we had high def television?
So explain this to Brad. This was quite the thing on Saturday nights, Thomas, at 6:05.
Yep. Superstation.
Now,
It's
Brad,
crazy.
see how they blacked out the crowd like AEW does? Because there was only 100 people in the crowd.
Yeah.
But that was a good show back then.
Taped in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah.
That's before we had to lie about numbers and whatnot just to beat out our competition, right?
Yep.
And the sad part is that now that we know how they do it have like the NXT type wrestlers in the crowd being some of the crowd, who knows how fans were actually out there. It might have just been jobbers that they had in the back playing the crowd.
Yeah, NXT is weird for that, man. I don't know why they plant their crowd members, except for when they go on the road now. They go on the road.
Yeah.
Andy's working the knee, just so you know. He's working the knee.
I couldn't have figured that one out.
I'm just letting it. He's going to walk out of there with a limp, I guarantee it. Or he don't get paid.
So you like the attention to detail, how the fist is actually in the side of the knee, like you're wrestling as a kid in the backyard.
That's because if it's Dick Slater, he's actually really doing it. He's really punching him.
This is true. This is true.
The true goal to this was the announcers actually making it seem poetic.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't solely.
Gordon Soley. That's a young Dick Slater before he got any notoriety.
Now, what's the YouTube rules for this? Because like I've watched reaction videos where people are playing full length music videos and then they're just talking over it the whole time. And every once in a while they'll stop it to talk. It's like almost like they're breaking it up on purpose. But like, what can't you have the audio playing for?
I don't know. It's something to do with I don't know. Maybe Brad can shed some light on that. Like, as far as like monetizing it, they allow you to do it, but if you want to, attach anything to it for like ads or something like that, I don't. You're not allowed to like promote your own stuff like while you're kind of showing other people's stuff. But this stuff is all over YouTube. If the WWE has an archive, it's just they never break it open to show the stuff that people really want to see. That's the problem. That's my 2 cents on that. So what's the finishing move? That roll up?
Could be. Oh, it could be the back head to the nuts.
Yep. Back of the head to the nuts for the win.
It.
That's the classic play. Terry.
Bob Orton.
Good one.
Hey, I know that guy.
Funk you, baby. Funk you.
This is pre-cast.
That's
Back
Terry Funk, Tom.
Yeah. Oh, is that Funk? Oh, yeah.
Terry Funk. Even I knew that.
Hey,
That man's a legend.
I had to throw you a bone. After all, you lost cred when you gave Rogue One a 10. So,
Well, it's the greatest Star Wars movie ever made. So, I mean, it well deserved.
So it's unfortunate that you can't hear the audio because Terry Funk was one of those guys known for giving some crazy promos.
Oh, yeah. He was the absolute star of Roadhouse, by the way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hey, that's a good movie.
We should review that one next. Y'all want to review Roadhouse? It's highly quotable. It would have to be at least a 9 something based off your scale.
You gotta wait for your pick. Unless somebody takes it before you.
Yeah, he's gonna pick Rogue One again. He wants a recount. He's calling for a recount.
Just to fuck with y'all, if I get a pick in December, it's going to be the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh, I've seen it.
I have it on vinyl. I just listened to it. Old school. Yeah.
Terrible. Yeah, that was only shown once, and the only other way you can watch it is bootleg.
Yep. You can get it, the whole thing on YouTube.
So you figure this is probably like March of '77, so right around the time of that whole Star Wars era.
hey,
Oh, yeah.
So he's rocking that suit.
Look at
Hey, that thing's come back in style already in 3 different times.
look at Terry Funk.
Oh,
Oh,
Tony
shit.
Atlas.
You know who that is? Tony Atlas.
Oh, that's Tony Atlas?
Yep.
Right now he's ratting somebody out.
Right now, somebody's asking to see his Peckerwood.
They gotta touch my pickle.
Might be the last time they ever let him do a promo.
There's a man that knows so much about WWE, and he only spent about 2 years there.
Ow.
And he was going like in the early '80s, but he's got all this knowledge of all the stuff that happened in the '90s.
I'll say this: whoever's on their production team doing a black backdrop does not do this guy any service at all. Should be a little more contrast.
Brad, he did have a gimmick as the Black Superman and came out in the Superman costume.
Really?
Yep. In world class.
And he also was an African called Saba Simba.
Yeah.
That's when he
Give
came.
him the Luke Cage vibes for the Marvel buffs.
What'd you think of that show?
I haven't
The
seen
Luke
it.
Cage show? I vaguely remember it. The comics I thought did way better job with that character, but whatever.
By far the best on that is the Punisher.
Oh, the Netflix series?
Woo!
Yeah, Punisher was good. Daredevil was amazing.
Yep.
And also they've already brought Daredevil into the Disney shit. I hope they bring John Boyega's Punisher into the Disney stuff too. If not, that would just be dumb because people already love him.
I think he's in the trailer for Daredevil.
Oh, oh yeah, I hope so. That'd be awesome.
Andy, who's
Yep.
that other announcer? I don't recognize him.
That's
I
Brad.
don't know.
Yeah, what the hell's his name? He's a Mid Atlantic correspondent guy.
Ah,
Freddie something.
Gary Ganous.
Yes, he's got a great comb over. That comb was awesome.
Mm-mm.
That is
It's
not his
crazy.
real hair.
Like all the white dudes are like flabby truck driver plumbers, and then Tony Atlas is just like absolutely jacked.
Yeah, yeah. That back then they all weren't, built like that.
So I was
because they
saying,
were
like,
steroids back
Here
then.
we go.
looking at the dudes in the ring, I'm like, the four of us could hop in there and like put on a show. None of these dudes are in shape.
Abdullah.
Right.
He's not even
You
fighting
know-
the same guy. What do you fight twice in the same car?
I don't know. The first guy he fought was a white dude.
You know he's full of cardio, Ryan.
True stories.
Look at the height on that ring.
Jeez.
That back then they were slick. That was to make the guys look all tall.
Yep,
Yep.
Referees, all little guys too.
yep.
Oh, got a weapon. He's got a weapon, Andy.
Gonna make him bleed.
People were actually, scared of him.
He doesn't do much. Like the opponent just rolls around the ring and then it makes him look like he did something.
He never
The-
stayed in one place that long.
Did people like cheer for this guy for Abdullah?
Oh, they were
Nope.
afraid of him.
He was ultimate villain.
Okay.
He always had a manager, so he never spoke. Really.
Yep.
Tactic that they still try to use today.
He was known for pulling out the foreign objects.
Making dudes bleed.
Now, right now, is this video playing in Ed's box?
Where's Ed when we need him?
I don't remember Abdullah doing that move.
No, I think he just pulled that one out. What? You know what this is? That's the finisher.
Oh
There
yeah.
it goes. One and done.
Oh,
Good. See that's Brad. That's the lost art of picking the guy up. You don't see that anymore.
Mm-mm.
Nobody ever gives somebody the finisher and says, "I'm going to lift him off the mat and do it to him again." Now they kick out.
here we go. Fantastic.
He should have did it Randy Savage style.
Off the top rope.
That murdering motherfuckers.
That would have been impressive.
He'd be out of breath by the time he got to the top.
The head ain't busted up that much yet, Tom, in this.
Nope. He's still a fairly I won't say young guy, but he's like you say, he doesn't have the scars.
Don't forget, he's got the Iron Sheik boots too.
Yes.
I noticed that.
Oh, they got to bring him out. He's dangerous. Unpredictable. Probably one more. And Lars Anderson.
Who the fuck's he?
That's one of the Anderson brothers.
Oh, that's a shit one.
Yep.
That's the
You know the
shit
sad
one.
thing
That's a
is
shit brother.
he makes Ole Anderson look like he had a personality. So
Now I know why the other two brothers had beards. This guy's an ugly bastard.
That's don't forget about Gene, Ryan. Old man Gene Anderson.
Gene, I know. This guy, nope. This guy looks like the guy from Sons of Anarchy.
yeah,
Hellboy.
Oh, he does.
Ron Perlman.
Is it just me? Or do y'all miss these like backstage interviews like this for a promo?
Oh well, that studio wrestling served a lot of purposes. These were to get you to go watch it live.
A
Yeah.
lot of art.
They'd be talking about coming to Promotion Center.
I feel like they don't do this often anymore. Like
Nope.
sometimes they'll have what's her name back there cutting a quick interview, but it's not like a memorable promo. Like these dudes used to cut gold, and with Mean Gene Okerlund and all them, you know what I mean, right? Like they
Yep.
would just sit there and cut the promo of a lifetime. I don't think they do that anymore though.
No. They had
Instead, we get Cody Rhodes in the ring talking for 20 minutes.
That's 20 minutes of gold.
Yeah. Yeah. If you say that.
Possibly the greatest announcer of all time.
Who's that?
Guy holding the microphone. That's
Good
our
stuff.
first trip into the watch along with Georgia Championship Wrestling. So let's wrap up the wrestling talk for this week and get into some Tom's shitty picks. Let's go, Thomas.
Before you do that, you want to talk about Jim Montgomery?
Yeah, oh yeah, we can do that. Yeah, thoughts on the Bruins firing 3 Jack Adams Award winners in a row. What do you
Crazy.
Horrible.
Bruins Nation?
And all 3 of them, after their firing, none of them made it to 8 days following. They got fired, and all 3 of them got hired within 8 days.
Yep.
Which is kind of crazy.
And
It's
one
ridiculous.
Stanley Cups too.
Jim Montgomery was 120 and 41 and 120, 41 and 23 while he was with the Bees, and they fired him. I mean, it's ridiculous. They got to get rid of Sweeney. I mean, as he's gotten a little better recently, but he doesn't do him any favors with his drafts. His drafts have been horrible. I think he's only had, out of all the draft picks he's done since he was there, I think he got there in 2017. There's only been like 28 guys that he's drafted have made the NHL, and like I'd say 3 or 4 of them never played with the Bees. They actually made it with other teams.
Well, you figure he botched the Sway negotiations. Whether you think he deserved the money or not, it shouldn't have gone almost to the start of the season. It should have been already resolved in the summer. And then once you get past that, he added Lindholm and Zadorov. Neither one has done shit. So his investment in the tender and what he was going to add to the team to improve it has not gone well. They're, I mean, I think they've always, last 2 years, even though they had that one historical year, have kind of been playing a little bit over their head, where I kind of feel like they should kind of be on the decline. And I think as hard as it would be, my team had to do it with Kane. Andy's team did it with Giroux. You can't have, in this modern cap era, Bergeron, Rask, Krejci, Chara to a point, even though he didn't retire a Bruin, they let him stay playing there until he was already useless. So they never got anything for him. You can't continue to retool if you let your players play out their whole careers. I mean, it looks great on paper where he's like, they were always their lifetime Bruins, but you gotta flip those guys for younger guys at some point, or eventually you're gonna be like my Blackhawks, and the bottom's gonna fall out, and you got nothing when you had one of the best teams in the league.
Pittsburgh too, right now.
Well,
Pittsburgh's going through it.
You're talking about Pittsburgh. The rumor is that the Bruins kind of have a backdoor deal with Mike Sullivan to become the head coach, when I guess he's supposed to get fired within the next week or two. And they're kind of saying in the backdoor meetings he's going to end up taking over for the Bees.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that Monty ended up going to a bad team like the Blues.
Yeah.
I thought he would kind of hold out to go somewhere better, but if you look back on it, when he had his little rehabilitation thing, the Blues were the first one to give him an opportunity after he was done. So maybe he owes him one, or I think that's probably maybe feels a little more comfortable going back there after the way that the Bruins treated him.
Yeah.
Brad, you can't be leaving during the fucking hockey.
we try to segue the sports stuff all in together. So real quick before we move on to Tom's shitty picks, Chuck Woolery, legend of the Gen Xers, and maybe a little bit before that, passed away. Thomas, thoughts on Chuck Woolery?
I always remember growing up from Love Connection because my mother would always watch that. I didn't realize he was the first host of Wheel of Fortune. I never realized that.
He was.
Yep.
He was. Yeah, not a big tenure, but yeah. So another memorable TV face has come and gone. So
he had some good plastic surgeons, because he did not look 83 years old.
Brad's illuminated right now.
Brad is the whitest white man I've ever seen.
That was crazy.
It's funny that you said that, Tom. My mother too, also a big fan of the Love Connection.
Yep.
No,
I
I
come
might
from
have to say,
school and my mother would be watching it.
2 minutes and 2 seconds might be a little bit too long to cover Chuck Woolery.
yeah. So I was always a dating game fan, newlywed game more than Love Connected. So that's my 2 cents. Thomas, let's do it.
All righty. Tom's Shitty Picks is brought to you by Brock Street Brewing Company, located at 244 Brock Street South in Whitby, Ontario. Everything is brewed in-house, including their hard iced teas, their beers, vodka sodas, and their hard seltzers. So if you're in the Whitby area, go check them out and tell them the 1973 podcast sent you. All right, so I'm doing pretty well with these college picks. Unfortunately, the season's going to be ending fairly soon, but I picked Ohio State to beat Indiana, and they did. They
Oh yeah.
blew them out, and kind of knew it was going to happen. Indiana hadn't played anyone, and Ohio State playing at home. So this coming week, there's only a couple of games that have ranked teams playing one another, and honestly, I think Texas is going to kill Texas A&M. So I'm going to go with number 18 South Carolina versus 17 Clemson. The game's in Clemson. I'm going with Clemson in this one. South Carolina has been a really surprising team to me. I never expected them to be this good after losing Spencer Rattler and a few other off the team last year. Thing I didn't realize is how good of a season the quarterback for Clemson's having. Cade Klubnik, I believe that's his name. 29 passing touchdowns and only 4 interceptions, and then he's got 5 rushing touchdowns. So I'm going to go, I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to go with Clemson.
Like that.
Want to do some football picks, Thomas?
Sure. I've got 5 picks for this week, but go over last week's thing. Who had the best? Shaggy had the best week. He went 10-4, and then Tom and Andy went 9-5, and Ed went 8-6. Ryan and Brad, you didn't give me your pick, so I gave you all home teams, brother.
Good.
So you went 7-7. So the standings right now, we're close. The standings: Brad's 113-53, Andy's 112-54, Ryan's 109-57. Shaggy is I'm sorry, I'm 107-59. Shaggy is 97-46.
Acknowledge me.
Ryan, you look like you have a discrepancy.
I'm like, Shaggy winning the week is worse than the Road 110.
Yeah.
We
Shaggy,
can't be having this.
can't be having Shaggy winning anything. He doesn't even show up anymore.
So this week I picked 5 games. There's only like 3 good games, and then the other 2 I'm just going with some Thanksgiving games because it's a tradition. So game 1, I'm going to go with on Thanksgiving Day, the Dallas Cowboys at home against the New York Giants. I'm going to go with Andy.
Like I said, I'm here to make friends. I'll take the Cowboys.
All righty. Brad.
Bro, I don't backup quarterbacks, backup everybody's on the Cowboys. We got lucky this week. Still haven't won a home. We're the only sports franchise in America across every brand of sports to not win a home game in 2024. But I think we might be able to beat the Giants. They work than we do.
Phantom?
Cooper Rush is the new hope.
Rush hour.
Brad
Rush
already
hour.
ordered up in Jersey. We got to go Cowboys.
Yeah, I have no faith in Tommy DeVito. I think he did any. Yeah. Did you see Baker Mayfield doing that today after he scored? He did it.
My man Baker. Love Baker.
So that's a clean sweep. I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys. Game 2, Thanksgiving Day. The Green Bay Packers at home against the Miami Dolphins. Andy.
Told you, Packers Super Bowl. Give me the Packers.
All righty. Brad?
They're packing it in, fellas. Is that what they say up there?
No.
You must have stopped watching Shawshank in the first half an hour.
Well,
we say pack up.
They definitely packed it in for the 49ers. So, which I guess
they
that
were
kind
playing
of
their
works.
JV team, but yeah.
It kind of works for them. So, I'm a big Green Bay for that one.
Don't take my
All
pick.
I'm going for the Packers.
right.
Yeah, you are wearing a yellow sweater and everything. My goodness.
I'm going to go with Miami in this one. They're starting to come around. Green Bay's place to their competition level, so I'm going to go with Miami. I think Tua's going to have a big day with Tyreek. All right, now we'll get to a few good games. Buffalo Bills at home against the 49ers. Andy.
I'm going to take the Bills.
All righty. Brad.
After how San Fran struggled in the frigid temps of Green Bay, Wisconsin, I think they're going to struggle in Buffalo. So Buffalo for that one.
All righty. Ryan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bills too. They've been hot.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Buffalo. I'm going to go on the premise that 49 and Williams and that they're hurting right now. They may not even make the playoffs now. They were my Super Bowl pick, I believe. All right, another good game, probably the game of the week. Baltimore Ravens at home against the Philadelphia Eagles. Andy.
Give me the Ravens.
All righty. I'm going to go with the Phantom because Brad got a potty break.
Oh,
There he is.
I know Brad wasn't here for the pick, but I know that he'll take the same team as Andy, so
yes.
we can skip him.
Don't
Yeah.
even tell me what the teams are. Give me whatever pick Andy had.
All right, you're going with Baltimore. Phantom.
I'm gonna go Philly at home.
Yep, I am too. I think
Oh shit, Andy. We may have made a mistake.
I just think
Speaking of,
Harbaugh overthinks things, man. You just got to keep feeding the ball to Derrick Henry. Give this defense a break.
I got to cut in for a minute. Speaking of Philly at home, our Flyers, America's team, number 39, Rookie of the Year, Matvey Michkov, in overtime. Thank you very much. Thomas, continue.
Okay.
Last game. The Minnesota Vikings at home against the Arizona Cardinals. Andy.
Hmm.
Who was it?
Minnesota Vikings and Arizona Cardinals.
Minnesota?
Okay. Are you asking me or telling me?
Question mark.
All right, Brad.
Man, this is going to wind up being a pretty good game. Arizona is kind of turned up a little bit. They show they can win with their run game, their pass game, their defense. Whenever they need it, somebody steps up. But I think the West Coast teams have a travel up to the northeast. I don't know where Minnesota's on the map. But I think Minnesota's will win this game. Minnesota is also playing really good football.
All righty. Phantom.
Vikings.
All right.
Vikings.
Just to be different, I'm going to go with Arizona.
Yeah.
All right, AT.
It's not a bad pick.
All right. So, it's we're chugging along on this Podcast Express Thanksgiving edition, and it's time to, kick it over to the Bradford to try to get some tinfoil hat going here, get some good banter.
Some good banter.
Get some banter going.
Banter.
Am I doing the lead-in?
Yes.
All righty. Brad's tinfoil hat conspiracy of the week is brought to you by the book Loving Elliot, a fitting tribute to undying love, written by our very own Andy Clark. It's available on Amazon.com. Elliot was the oldest special needs Jack Russell Terrier when he passed away at the age of 21. Off to you, Brad.
So I had a whole thing prepared. I don't know where it is about Gilgamesh and all the discoveries in Iraq, and why we invaded Iraq for the lost city of Gilgamesh. I'm not going to talk about that. What I'm going to talk about is this year in the United States and in Mexico, there have been a lot of extraterrestrial, like landmark, groundbreaking discussions going on. And not just between like a bunch of nerds talking about aliens and sharing videos on YouTube and talking tinfoil hat and stuff on a podcast. I'm talking about the U.S. government having congressional hearings and actually admitting to having organic matter, admitting to having, vehicles, unidentified aerial, what do they call them? UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenons. I don't know. Anyway, don't quote me on that. I'm not a very quotable guy, but
Get a 5.
I got a 5. But they've been admitting all this, extraterrestrial stuff. And then just recently, like, we've talked about Google Earth, like blurred that image of the ocean off the coast of California, where now people are saying there's like an underwater alien base. And then kind of brings up the Battle of LA back in the 40s and during World War II. Do y'all remember that? I heard about that. There's like this huge gunfight off the coast of Los Angeles, and they said Japanese warplanes had encroached into our airspace, but like they never found any Japanese airplane wreckage or anything because they were blasting at the aliens and the UFOs that came out the ocean that Google Earth blurred out. Anyway, the government just in the last week admitted in congressional hearings that those mugs actually live underwater in the oceans. Like now it's a thing. And I don't know why more people aren't talking. Like I only see it on TikTok and like some Instagram reels. Nobody's talking about it. The kid in me who was in the library checking out photos is absolutely like, holy shit, this is some Men in Black moments. Nobody's talking about it. This year, the Mexican Congress convened where some scientists came in with like 3 mummified bodies of aliens and said he found them in Peru. And immediately people are like, oh, those are fake. It's a hoax. And they just buried it. It was never talked about again. This year, the Miami Mall had the largest civilian police response ever in the history of law enforcement for 4 kids fighting with sticks and shooting firecrackers. And then it comes out and through social media and TikTok and all these other different social media channels that there were fucking aliens coming through portals. One guy even said they looked like guys in like Navy uniforms or some shit, like coming through the portal. So I don't know, man. This has been a really exciting year for UFO conspiracy theories. Like I said, the kid to me that grew up reading everything I could find on Roswell, reading up everything I could find on UFOs, every UFO book that my library had, I had checked out. So I'm like jumping for joy that like they're finally talking about this stuff, but like nobody cares. This should be like mainstream news.
Nope.
I don't get it.
Brad, I don't understand why things take precedence over things that are groundbreaking like that. You know what I mean? Is it the election that overshadows it? Is it just people are got their head so far up their own ass that they don't want to look at the vast, you know, landscape of things? What do you think?
I think a lot of those. Go ahead, man.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think like the normal human experience, you either believe in angels and demons and human beings, and like you can't comprehend that there might be another humanoid life form out there, whether they live in our ocean or on Mars, or some other plane of existence. There could be just another Earth on the same dimension, another dimension. Marvel's been hinting at that, alternate realities and shit anyway, in movies and in the comics. So I think we would be fools to think that like we're just here on Earth by ourselves.
Totally agree.
Yep, and I don't think the government wants you to know. I think that's why they released it because everybody was paying attention to the election. So I don't know what they're afraid of, if they're afraid of like mass hysteria or what, but they just kind of misdirect you with one thing while something else is going on over here.
I think it all comes full circle too, as far as like anything that anybody says that's against what you say, you tell them that they're full of shit. Everything's a lie. Everything on the other side's a lie. So now where everybody watches and like anything you see, you already got a doubt in your mind, like, is this bullshit or not? Now all of a sudden, now they're gonna start releasing all this stuff out, be just under that cap of like, oh, fuck off, aliens. Like, this is BS. Like, you're not gonna believe anything because they just want people just to go about their business and not really think about anything, and they don't want any chaos. They just want everything to. If all of a sudden on the news they were like legit saying that, oh, there was something in the sky and 100% it was aliens, you're gonna have everybody bouncing off the walls. There's gonna be chaos, and they don't want that.
I think too, it topples the structure of everything that they've kept kind of in place all these years. Like as far as it goes back to the original conspiracy theory of all conspiracy theories is the structure of where we came from and
Hmm.
what human existence is. Was it an alien ant farm that was just seeded for other things, and then it grew into something more due to every so often they come back and hit the reset button and change it the way they want to change it, and it keeps growing and growing, almost like you're playing a game of the old school Sims where it's a total like model that you're creating, or like an ant farm, how that's just they're in this bubble, and they come back and they add something to it, or take a couple ants out, or add new ants, or it's so vast and so mind blowing of how deep the roots go that you don't even know where to start. But I still think that you know the search for knowledge is the best part of the whole thing, is putting the pieces together and kind of hopefully in our lifetime we'll have some validity to some of the things that we always thought was BS. But I don't know, they seems like every 100 years they do like this reset to keep everybody kind of on the same page. And it's crazy how it's done, because it's done in plain sight and you never even see it, and then after the fact it's like, oh shit. So I don't know if, like Tom said, it's always sleight of hand. They do something over here, and it's always what everybody isn't watching. Bradford,
I saw a thing with Neil deGrasse Tyson that you ever see that guy? He's like a scientist. He kind of always has his stuff's usually pretty good. And he was kind of saying that people can't fathom that, like, they compare us to monkeys, but like we have like the exact same DNA, everything, but the monkeys are only capable of like I think it was like 1% of like our brain power compared to theirs as far as like what they can do. But people can't fathom that there could be something other than us, that their intelligence, we only have 1% of their intelligence, and but people can't blow it away like we got to be the smartest species ever. There can't be anything above us.
I think we're taught that, Ryan. I think the way that society is built, the way we're taught to have that narcissism, that there's, whether you grew up religious or you grew up with a household that, foo-fooed everything, or whatever. And I think you just pushed into that corner, and it's almost like, what if we are the aquarium in just some large, vast Galactus style character's living room? It's crazy to look at it like that, and it's just so advanced that they say that the aliens, the way they communicate, they don't even talk. They use mental telepathy, so they put thoughts right in your head. The way they communicate, they don't speak. They just mind back and forth and communicate like that. So, I mean, it's like I was never a huge X-Files fan, but like the tagline, the truth is out there, and it's a search for knowledge. Brad, you want to add anything to your segment?
No, my rant is over. I just get super excited for it, man. I don't know, like I really don't understand the government and redacted CIA documents admitting to having organic matter and reverse engineering and using the alien tech, and it's everything I read about and dreamed about as a kid. It's real. I've been waiting for this day, and it's weird to me that it's not on the ticker across my TV and like breaking news everywhere. Like it's weird.
No, and
Like
if
our society is so fucked because we're so obsessed with sports stars and celebrities and politics that we don't even give a shit when the government admits to having aliens. Like in
yeah,
the 50s, people would have rioted. We would have fucking lost our shit.
another good movie to review, Mazda Tax, one day.
Yes.
We'll get to that. That's a good one. Yeah. So, anything you want to add at the end, Thomas, to point counterpoint with Bradford?
Well, counterpoint. I'm totally on board with what he just said.
Yeah. Tom's becoming a believer, Brad. No more tinfoil hat for the professor.
Nope, he's one of us.
The czar of the Jiffy Pop hat at one time.
Nope. Yes,
Yep.
I'm going to break that out now when he does his picks for the ratings for the movies.
Ooh, the true conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's
Do we lose him?
let's do some shout outs and bring it home for Thanksgiving. I'll start off this week. I just want to say thanks to the fellas for showing up and thankful for being able to do this with you guys every week. That's my big shout out. Thomas?
Well, I want to give a shout out to somebody who's been missing for like what 2 months now. A guy, Chris. He hasn't been on in a while, man. Where you been? Miss you.
Frankowitz?
I'm gonna shout out you. You haven't moved seconds. It's like we're watching. It's like we're watching the NWA clip all over again. Work on that Wi-Fi, brother. I'm just shouting out Comcast. They're doing you nasty over there.
The little toggle button's still spinning. You guys are moving, but I'm not. So, Bradford, bring us home.
It's weird because like your image froze, but the audio just kept going.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I'm moving.
My shout out. I also just want to say I'm thankful for y'all and this opportunity. It's kind of like turned into like my highlight of my week. No homo, no diddy. I don't get to get out much because we're always wrapped up with sports and other shit. So getting to get together and just shoot the shit and chop it up, I really enjoy that. Shout out Chris, man, I miss you, dog. You're well, man. It's like there you go. He's back.
Hey guys.
He had to get reset.
Hi guys.
They had to switch out his clone body with a new clone body. He's back.
I had to switch it out. So yeah, hopefully you guys had some free talking points that kind of carry that plot.
We said awesome things about you. You'll hear it when you watch it back.
Awesome.
He was communicating alien style. He was.
Did you get it? We just sent it. There you go.
So let me sign this off for this week, and we'll send everybody well wishes for Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving from
Thanksgiving, everyone.
1973 podcast, mofos. Yeah, let's shut the.